Chapter 1. You again? The bell above the cafe door jingled ominously. Kairos Velez didn't even look up. He could feel it, that shift in the air, that faint scent of expensive cologne and bad decisions. Venti cappuccino, oat milk, extra foam, no sugar? He sighed. You again. Lucien Moreau stood at the counter like a dark storm, wrapped in designer couture. A black three-piece suit tailored to perfection, obsidian hair slicked back, and glacier blue eyes locked onto Kairos like he was the last biscotti on earth. Kairos didn't flinch. Instead, he gave the Mafia Don the most obnoxious smile he could muster and said sweetly, "Coming right up, Mr. Mobster." Lucien didn't even blink. He was used to being called sir, boss, or please don't kill me. But from Kairos, insults sounded like lullabies. Good morning to you too, Kairos. With all the poise of someone who absolutely wasn't planning petty violence, Kairos turned to the espresso machine. Fourth suit this month, he muttered, steam hissing as he frothed the milk with enough force to take down a kingdom. What are you doing? Collecting dry cleaning receipts like trophies? Lucien said nothing, just watched him work with rapt attention, as if the world could end and he wouldn't notice as long as Kairos kept moving like that, confident, careless, gorgeous. Unfortunately, Kairos noticed the staring. Stop it, he snapped. Stop what? Stop looking at me like I invented caffeine and cured your childhood trauma. I didn't say you didn't, Lucien murmured with complete seriousness. Kairos rolled his eyes so hard they nearly relocated. He grabbed the coffee, turned too fast, and right on cue, the cappuccino tilted forward like a slow-motion nightmare. Lucien didn't even move. The drink hit his chest with a splat, leaving a tan stain over his custom Dior. There was silence. Kairos blinked. Oops. Lucien exhaled like he had just been blessed by the heavens. You spilled on me again. Kairos gave a slow smirk. Maybe if you wore something cheaper, I wouldn't feel so tempted. I'll wear a trash bag if it'll make you smile at me, Lucien said. Kairos blinked. You do realize how creepy that sounded, right? Lucien shrugged. You think I care? Truth was, Kairos was used to getting attention. His sharp cheekbones, wicked grin, and tongue sharp enough to carve marble made him a local menace and a cafe legend. But Lucien was the first man who didn't try to match his energy. He absorbed it, with unwavering calm, like every insult was a flower thrown at his feet. Kairos turned around to hide the way his ears went pink. Not because he was flustered, obviously not, but because he was remembering the incident. The one where this whole circus started. Flashback 3 months ago, 9:52 p.m. It had all begun with a plan. Kairos, the master of subtle sabotage, had decided to catch Lucien Moreau's attention, not by flirting, not by seduction, but by drama. He'd heard Lucien sometimes pass through the street by the cafe. So, naturally, he had hired a fake thug to try to mug him. Heroic intervention, casual hair, flip mafia, heart ensnared. Except the fake thug never showed. A real thug did. Kairos barely had time to swear before he instinctively kicked the man in the gut, elbowed the knife from his hand, and roundhouse kicked the weapon into the gutter. It was messy, chaotic, unscripted. And when he stood there, panting slightly, he turned, only to see Lucien leaning against a lamppost, arms crossed, lips parted in open fascination. Kairos blinked. Lucien blinked back. It was as if time slowed. Oh no, Kairos thought. It actually worked. From that day on, the blacked-out SUV began parking across the street. Every single day, Lucien never stepped inside the cafe. Not right away, just sat in his car, sunglasses on, pretending to scroll on his phone. Kairos, smug little gremlin that he was, started writing "Hi Stalker" in caramel drizzle on random drinks and sending them out accidentally. Lucien collected everyone like holy scripture. When Lucien finally did walk into the cafe for the first time, Kairos nearly choked, and promptly insulted him. You look like someone who buys perfume just to bathe in it. Lucien just smiled. You noticed my scent. That's a good start. Ever since, it had been war. Sexy, slow, stubborn war. And Kairos thrived in it. What Lucian didn't know was that Kairos had been drawn to him long before their first conversation. Mafia or not, there was something addictive about Lucian's cold precision, the way he moved like he owned the world, but still flinched when Kairos got too close. It scratched some twisted itch in Kairos's soul. But he'd never admit it. He couldn't. That would mean losing the upper hand. Back in the present, Kairos threw a towel at Lucian's soaked chest. "Clean yourself up, you're dripping all over my floor." Lucian caught the towel and smiled like he'd been handed a love letter. "Can I come again tomorrow?" Kairos gave him a flat look. "No." "Same time?" "No. I'll be here." Kairos walked away, muttering, "Someone please, call pest control." As Lucian turned to leave, towel still clutched in his hand like a sacred relic, the Mafia uncles waiting outside shook their heads. "He's totally whipped," one sighed. "He spilled again?" another whispered. Lucian simply smiled. "He looked at me today, for 3.7 seconds longer than yesterday." And from inside the cafe, Kairos peeked through the blinds and smirked. He totally knew. Chapter 2. You're coming with me. The grand chandelier in the Moreau estate ballroom flickered slightly as Lady Evelina Moreau tapped her wineglass with a diamond-encrusted fork. The sound echoed like a warning bell across the long, glossy mahogany dining table. Lucian stiffened. He already knew something terrible was coming. His mother never summoned him to dinner unless someone was about to get married, buried, or bribed. "Lucien," Evelina began, swirling her wine like she was preparing to crush his dreams with a twist of her wrist. "I've given you many years to run around doing mafia things." Lucien glanced at the 10 armed guards lining the walls and the briefcase full of diamonds next to the breadbasket. "Yes, thank you for your support. I want grandchildren," she said bluntly. Lucien blinked. I beg your pardon?" "You have 1 year. Marry, settle down, or I will marry you off myself." She smiled with all the warmth of a medieval guillotine. "I've already received offers." Lucian's fork dropped. His mother had arranged mafia matchmaking? No, absolutely not. There was only one person he wanted. One sharp-tongued menace who served coffee like poison and looked at him like he was something between a stray dog and a lint stain. Kairos Valles. Lucien stood up so abruptly his chair fell over. "I'll do it. I know who I'm marrying." Evelina arched a brow. "Who?" Lucien turned, black coat swirling like a villain about to do something heroic and very stupid. He just doesn't know it yet. The next morning, in the cafe's break room, Kairos was peacefully sabotaging a coworker's Spotify playlist when a man in a suit burst in and said, "Excuse me, sir, but tell Lucian if he sends another one of his discount bond extras, I'm going to throw him into the espresso machine," Kairos said without looking up. The man paused. "So you're aware this is a kidnapping?" Kairos stood up, stretched, and grabbed a duffel bag from under the table. "I packed last night." The man blinked. "You did?" Kairos sighed dramatically. "Lucien's subtlety is about as dead as my last attempt at a healthy relationship. Let's just get this over with." Lucian was pacing outside the car like a nervous prom date. The door swung open. Kairos stepped out, sunglasses on, bag over shoulder, and an expression that said, "I'd rather die but I look hot doing it." "Took you long enough," Kairos sniffed. Lucian blinked. "Wait, you're not screaming?" Kairos tossed his bag into the back seat. "Why would I? I said I'd marry you, didn't I?" Lucian's brain short-circuited. "You did?" Kairos got into the car and buckled up. "No, but you'll take what you get." The Moreau estate hadn't seen this much chaos since that one-time arrival Don tried to poison the cannoli. Lucian's mafia uncles gathered in the living room, peeking through curtains as the infamous cafe gremlin strolled in, chewing gum and judging everything. "That's him?" Uncle Gino whispered. "The one Lucian's been mooning over for months?" Uncle Roman asked, clutching a rosary. "God save us," Uncle Enzo muttered. "He's even worse than we imagined." Kairos stopped in the middle of the grand hallway, looked them all up and down, and smiled sweetly. "Oh, look, discount Godfather cosplay night." Lucien, following behind him like a loyal golden retriever in Gucci, beamed. "Isn't he wonderful?" The uncles exchanged looks of collective despair. The wedding. The Moreau family never did small. The wedding was held in a Gothic cathedral with enough flower arrangements to smother a city block and a guest list filled with billionaires, crime bosses, and one confused florist who thought this was a movie set. Kairos wore a custom-tailored suit with black velvet lapels and a dagger tucked into his boot, just in case. Lucien looked like a prince from a cursed fairy tale, because he absolutely was. At the altar, Lucien whispered, "You look..." Kairos cut him off. "Don't get sappy, sad, wet puppy." Lucien looked like he might cry anyway. That night, Lucien had fully prepared for rejection. He expected Kairos to slap him, threaten him, maybe toss him off the balcony. What he didn't expect was Kairos yanking him by the tie into the bedroom and locking the door. Lucien stood frozen. "Kairos?" The Omega turned slowly, leaned against the door, and gave him a lazy smirk. "You think I wore silk for fun?" Lucien short-circuited. You don't have to." "I want to, dumbass." Lucien didn't remember the rest in detail. Only that it involved a lot of unbuttoning, breathless declarations, and Kairos muttering something like, "Took you long enough, idiot," before thoroughly kissing him speechless. 3 weeks later, Kairos sat on a rooftop cafe with his friends, sunglasses perched on his nose, sipping mocktails and flipping his hair. "I mean, he's annoying," Kairos said casually. "But he made breakfast shirtless and learned my cat's name in 2 days." "Wait, you're actually into him?" his best friend gasped. Kairos scoffed. "Please. He's just hot, tall, rich, sweet, obsessed with me, deadly with knives, kind to old ladies, can cook, kisses like sin, and has the softest hands." The group stared at him. Kairos sipped his drink. "Whatever. I'm not in love." Meanwhile, Lucien waded down the street, nervously holding flowers behind his back and checking his watch. He had no idea that Kairos had just called him husband goals over tiramisu. And he probably wouldn't hear those words from Kairos himself anytime soon. But he'd still get them in other ways, like how Kairos always left the light on when he stayed out too late. Or how he started sleeping on Lucien's side of the bed when he was away. Or how he never, ever missed Tuesday anymore. Because as much as Kairos loved the game, he had already chosen his player. And the baby books in the hallway were about to find their moment very, very soon in their life. Chapter 3. Wait, why am I nauseous? 8 months into their chaotic marriage, the Moreau estate was no longer a terrifying mafia stronghold. It was now also a place where romantic candlelit dinners were regularly interrupted by flying tiramisu. Someone shouted, "Why are you following me into the bathroom again?" at least once a week, and Lucien Moreau, the feared mafia don, willingly wore a pink kiss the cook or else apron while making pancakes shaped like cats. And he loved every single second of it. Lucien had built empires, toppled cartels, and once stabbed a man through a champagne bottle. But nothing made him feel more powerful than when his husband, Kairos Velez, would grab him by the collar, kiss him breathless, and mutter, "You're still annoying." Unfortunately, something strange had begun to happen. It all started with the pickle incident. "Why is there a half-eaten pickle floating in my cappuccino?" Lucien asked one morning, staring at the monstrosity in their kitchen. Kairos sat at the island counter in a hoodie 3 sizes too big, blankly chewing on a spoonful of sauerkraut while moodily kicking his legs like a grumpy toddler. "I thought it might taste good," Kairos said flatly. Lucien blinked. "Did it?" Kairos stared at the ceiling. "I don't know. I think I hate everything." Lucien inched closer. "You okay, baby?" "I cried because we ran out of mint toothpaste yesterday," Kairos muttered. "Then I threw my phone at the wall because my game glitched. And now, everything smells like soap. Even you." Lucien paused. "Wait, did you lick any poison lately?" Kairos squinted at him. "What kind of question is that?" You have been acting strange. Maybe someone's trying to assassinate you with mood toxins. Kairos went quiet, then slowly went pale. Oh no, he whispered. Lucien leaned in. What is it? Kairos stared at his coffee pickle creation with dawning horror. I'm pregnant, aren't I? The next hour was a blur of panicked phone calls, screaming, fainting, Lucien, more screaming, Kairos, and a very confused mafia doctor who'd been forcibly dragged out of his lunch break. Yes, the doctor said, blinking at the results. He's pregnant. A very healthy Omega pregnancy. Kairos folded his arms. Mildly inconvenient. Lucien collapsed dramatically into a velvet armchair. Mildly? You're carrying our love baby. You can't call that mildly inconvenient. I stubbed my toe last night. That was worse, Kairos deadpanned. Lucien looked ready to cry. Again. The next day, Mafia headquarters. Lucien sat at the head of the long table surrounded by top-tier underworld bosses. Maps, blueprints, and weapon crates were laid out. Everyone waited in tense silence. Lucien stood up, cleared his throat, and blurted, "What do you guys think about the name Orion for a baby?" The room froze. Uncle Gino coughed into his elbow. Sir, with all due respect, we're here to discuss arms trafficking routes. Lucien blinked. Right, of course. He sat back down, muttering to himself. But Orion's such a cool name. Maybe Kairos will like it if I present it with a pancake. Shaped like a constellation. Uncle Enzo leaned over to Uncle Roman. He's lost it. The baby's already fried his brain. Back at home, Kairos stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, staring at a bowl of oranges like they'd personally betrayed him. Why are these stupid balls of vitamin disappointment in my house? He snapped. Lucien peeked from behind the fridge door. You asked me to buy citrus this morning. I did not. That sounds like something past me would say. Lucien came over and gently rubbed his back. Do you want me to throw them out? Kairos sniffled. No, they're kind of cute. Lucien had never been so confused, or so in love. The Mafia uncles. Trying to be helpful, the Moreau Mafia uncles showed up with baby books. Problem was, not a single one of them knew what the hell they were doing. Uncle Gino held a copy of What to Expect. When you're expecting a Mafia baby upside down. Uncle Roman proudly gifted a bib with the words, My other cradle is a Lamborghini. Uncle Enzo offered a plushie shaped like a grenade. It squeaks. Kairos took one look at all of them and said, I'm surrounded by idiots. Lucien, teary-eyed, whispered, But they're your idiots now. Kairos glared. You're the biggest idiot here. Lucien beamed. You're glowing. You look radiant when you insult me. Kairos nearly threw a pillow at him. Tuesdays. Somehow, despite being visibly pregnant, Kairos still managed to escape the estate every Tuesday. Nobody knew how. Not the guards. Not the security systems. Not 24/7 surveillance baby cams Lucien may or may not have secretly installed. Every Tuesday, he vanished. Every Wednesday, Lucien could be found crying softly in the bathtub, whispering, He left again. He hates me. He probably joined a circus. A pickled circus. Every Thursday, Kairos would return with bubble tea, zero explanation, and a mild attitude. Lucien would run up, hug him like he'd just returned from war, and Kairos would roll his eyes while handing him the drink. You're so dramatic. Lucien, sniffle. You remembered my order. Kairos, I wrote it on my arm. You texted it to me 17 times. Lucien. Still counts. One night, as Lucien massaged Kairos's feet while humming lullabies to his belly, Kairos stared at him with an unreadable expression. You're not going to stop, are you? He said. Lucien looked up. Stop what? Being a total lovesick lunatic. Lucien grinned. Not even in the next life. Kairos sighed. God help this child. Lucien pressed a soft kiss to his stomach. This baby is going to be the most loved little mafia gremlin in the entire world. Kairos didn't say anything, but he didn't push Lucien away either. Instead, He leaned back, eyes fluttering shut. "You're annoying." Lucien smiled. "I know." Chapter 4. Don't you dare love me more than I love you. By his 8th month of pregnancy, Kairos Velez was still as much of a menace as ever, just with a belly that made kicking things slightly less graceful and more of a wobble. The baby kicked like it was training for the Mafia Olympics, Lucien cried, if Kairos so much as frowned, and the Mafia uncles were stress-baking cannoli, shaped like rattles. Still, despite the chaos, Kairos remained a Tsundere hurricane of sarcasm, insults, and dramatic eye rolls. But lately, something strange was happening. Kairos found himself doing soft things, secret things, like learning Lucien's favorite dishes in secret and pretending he randomly felt like cooking duck à l'orange at 2 a.m. for no reason at all. Or falling asleep on Lucien's chest during movie nights and waking up wrapped in 5 blankets and a pillow fort. Or, God forbid, accidentally smiling. He was losing his touch. He was becoming soft. Disgusting. The Tuesday Incident, Part 7. Kairos had carefully planned his escape for that Tuesday. Fake text to the guards, distraction bomb, it just shot confetti, and the classic, "I'm going to the kitchen" misdirection. Everything was perfect. Except he stood in front of the estate's gates for a solid 10 minutes, not leaving. Then he walked around the perimeter. Then he went back inside, flopped dramatically on the bed, and grumbled to himself. "I didn't really want to leave anyway. It's raining. It's all part of my plan." Lucien returned from a meeting, spotted Kairos in bed still dressed in his outdoor escape hoodie, and lit up like a Christmas tree. "You stayed," he gasped. Kairos narrowed his eyes. "I had reasons." Lucien nodded, heart bursting. "You missed me, didn't you?" Kairos threw a pillow at him. "I missed annoying people. You're a great specimen." Lucien caught the pillow and hugged it. "Still counts," he whispered. The diaper bag gang. Incident. It all went down on a random Thursday when Kairos decided he wanted passion fruit pancakes and Lucien declared war on their usual cafe for making them too citrusy. Lucien offered to make a better version himself and even packed a cute little bag filled with ingredients. Unfortunately, that bag also had baby bottles, pacifiers, and a cartoon dragon bib peeking out. Q. Rival gang ambush. Lucien, balancing the diaper bag and an egg beater, growled, "If you think I can't break your knees while holding this sippy cup, try me." Kairos watched from behind the tinted car window, one hand on his belly, the other holding a fork. He paused mid-bite of pancake and blinked as Lucien kicked a thug into a trash can. He brought the dragon bib to a knife fight. The fight ended in less than 5 minutes. Lucien stood victorious, tie loosened, flour on his cheek, holding a bottle like it was a Molotov. Kairos got out of the car, walked up to him, and snapped, "Idiot." Lucien beamed. "Hi, honey." Kairos looked away quickly. "Next time wear a helmet or something. That skull is my child's second favorite nesting spot." Lucien blinked. "What's the first?" "My lap, obviously." Lucien melted on the spot. Soft moments that Kairos will deny forever. Lucien had started placing headphones on Kairos' stomach at night and playing lullabies. Sometimes classical music, sometimes Lucien's own humming, recorded on his phone. At first, Kairos scoffed. Then one night, as he lay in bed pretending to scroll on his phone, he felt a tiny kick when the music started. Kairos blinked. Lucien smiled. "Baby likes Chopin." Kairos blinked harder. A few moments passed. Then suddenly, sniff, Lucien turned. Kairos was glaring at the ceiling, cheeks red, eyes glassy. "I'm not crying," he growled. Lucien kissed his cheek. "I know." Kairos buried his face in the pillow. "Stupid romantic mafia dork." The big confession, kind of. One lazy Sunday, Lucien held Kairos in his lap, gently rubbing his swollen belly, whispering things like, "I love you more than air," and "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." Kairos stared at him deadpan. "Stop being sweet or I'll puke." Lucien chuckled. "You always say that." "Because it's true. You make me violently emotional. Lucien kissed his forehead. Sorry, but I'm obsessed with you. Kairos sighed. Don't you dare love me more than I love you. Lucien blinked. Wait, so you do… Kairos smacked his chest. Shut up and kiss me before I change my mind, airhead. Lucien kissed him, and Kairos held his face for a moment longer than usual. No insults, just a soft murmur. You're not awful. Lucien. Wow, that's basically a proposal. Kairos rolled his eyes. You already kidnapped me. You don't get a second one. The Mafia uncles. React. Uncle Gino caught Lucien twirling with Kairos in the garden and declared, We need to build a panic room for the baby. Not from the enemies, from them. Uncle Enzo peeked through the curtains. They're dancing. He just dipped him. Kairos let himself get dipped. Uncle Roman dropped a rattle. We're doomed. Kairos, overhearing, smirked. You guys should worry less about doom and more about who's getting diaper duty when I go into labor. The uncles fell silent, then scattered. Later that night, as Lucien whispered poetry to Kairos's belly and Kairos pretended not to blush, the baby kicked again. Kairos gently placed his hand over it, sighing. Stupid mafia man, he murmured. Lucien kissed his knuckles. Yours forever. Kairos didn't reply, just snuggled closer and mumbled. Fine, but you're still annoying. Chapter 5. Our baby's first word will be run. The room was tense. 5 mafia families, 1 delicate peace treaty, 30 heavily armed guards. And in the center of it all, Kairos Velez, 9 months pregnant, in a silk robe and slippers, holding a glass of juice with exactly 3 ice cubes, because 4 is excessive and 2 is disrespectful. Lucien Moreau sat beside him, deadly and doting. His usual cold, calculating aura had long been replaced by something much more terrifying. Mafia husband mode. Everything was going perfectly. Until Kairos gasped, then growled. Then, I think my water just broke on your goddamn imported carpet, Lucien. Instant chaos. Uncle Gino screamed. Uncle Enzo fainted onto a rival Don. Lucien launched himself into panic mode. Everyone move! Get a doctor! Get a… Kairos, what do you need? Kairos. A new spine. And also, you're stupid and I hate you. Lucien. Okay, you can hate me forever. Just breathe. Kairos grabbed his collar mid-contraction and hissed, If you breathe near me again, I will bite your face. Lucien. Yes, sir. The rival mafia leaders silently watched as the most feared Don in Europe turned into a sobbing mess trying to wipe Kairos's forehead with the sleeve of his $3,000 jacket. Kairos. Use a towel, you dramatic walnut. The emergency birth room, aka the Mafia War Room. Someone cleared off the table. Uncle Roman read the manual upside down. A midwife was found in 10 minutes, which was impressive considering she had to be flown in by helicopter. Kairos screamed through a contraction and chucked a flower vase at Lucien. Lucy C. Rassin ducked. Barely. You did this to me, Kairos roared. I know and I'm sorry and I love you. You'd better. At one point, Kairos threw a shoe at the ceiling and Lucien caught it midair. Kairos stared. Lucien blinked. Then fainted. 2 hours later, the room was quieter now. Lucien sat beside Kairos, who looked thoroughly exhausted but still managed to shoot a glare at anyone who came within 5 feet. Cradled in Kairos's arms was a very small, very pink, and very loud baby with big eyes and a pout that clearly ran in the family. Lucien was sniffling again. I didn't know I could love something more than I love you, he whispered, wiping a tear. Kairos looked down at the baby, then at Lucien, then back down. Don't be dramatic. You love my legs the most. Lucien nodded solemnly. Third favorite, you, the baby, and then your legs. Kairos rolled his eyes. The baby gurgled. The proposal, mafia style. Later that night, as Kairos dozed with the baby on his chest, Lucien pulled out a velvet box and a pacifier. Inside was a small gold ring, shaped like a dagger with the Moreau family crest. Dangerous, flashy, and undeniably sentimental. Lucien gently slipped the ring onto Kairos's pinky and replaced the baby's pacifier with the engraved one that read, "Property of the most dramatic parents alive." Kairos cracked one eye open. Is that a proposal or a bribe? Lucien smiled. Both. Kairos looked at the ring, then at Lucien, then smirked. Better be a matching set. I want a necklace too. Later that day, the baby kicked in its sleep. Kairos sighed. Our child is going to be a gremlin. Lucien kissed his temple. A very cute gremlin. You know their first word is going to be run, right? Lucien, already tearing up. I'll take pictures. Kairos. Lucien. Lucien. Yes, my love? Kairos handed him a diaper. Change this and I might let you survive the night. Lucien saluted. It will be my honor. As Lucien scrambled to his feet with the diaper bag, Kairos leaned back, smiling softly. Chaos, love, mafia, a baby. A life neither of them expected, but now couldn't live without. Epilogue. Tiny Terror, Big Legacy. At the annual Underworld Family Day picnic trademark, chaos was expected. What no one expected was for the smallest mafia heir in attendance to declare war on the Sandbox Mafia, Baby Moreau. Barely toddling, cheeks squishy, eyes too smart for anyone's comfort, stared down another baby holding a bright red plastic gun. The crowd went silent. The wind paused. The clouds held their breath. And then smack. The toy gun flew out of the other toddler's hand and landed with a dramatic bounce. Gasps erupted from the mafia elite. Baby Moreau stood triumphant, one fist in the air, the other clutching a soggy animal cracker. From across the garden, Kairos, sipping lemonade with sunglasses perched on his head, casually nodded. That's my kid. Lucien, tearing up instantly and clutching a baby photo album like a holy relic, whispered, I'm so proud. Uncle Gino. He's already more terrifying than his parents. Uncle Enzo. I'm not babysitting, ever. Uncle Roman, clutching his heart. He called me a caca last week and I thanked him. Kairos smirked. Good, keep the fear alive. Later that day, baby Moreau climbed into Kairos's lap, babbled a string of nonsense, and drooled on Lucien's shirt. Lucien looked down at his stained designer fabric and beamed. He's perfect. Kairos wiped the baby's chin. Of course he is. He takes after me. The baby then threw a cookie at a pigeon and cackled. Lucien. Nope. That's definitely my side of the family. Kairos. God help us. Lucien leaned in and kissed Kairos's cheek. He'll be a king one day. Kairos. He's already a menace. We've done well. And together, with chaos behind them and chaos ahead, they watched their little heir rule the playground.